Welcome! This is tutorial 5 on the Pico Bright, and today we're going to have a look at how to put a switch in a subroutine instead of a delay. So let's open up the previous code that we used. Tutorial 4, where we put a delay in a subroutine. So putting a delay in a subroutine, as we said last time, has a great effect of you being able to update all of the tools at once. So we've got 7 delays. Is it? Oh no, 6 delays up there, or 6 subroutine tools, and they all call this one delay. Now, in that subroutine, each time it gets to the end, it returns to the respective subroutine that called it. And the thing that enables an MCU to do that, a microchip to work like that, is it has a thing called a subroutine stack. And so the address, every single tool has an address, so the address of this call is put on the stack, and then it goes to the new address of the new tool, and it gets to this return or the end tool, and it says, okay, let's pop that address back off the stack, and then it sends it back to this address. And so each time it gets to the different subtool, it lists that subtool's address on the subroutine stack, and so it knows how to return to that subroutine that called it. Okay, but let's have a look at our switch tool. Now this switch tool is pretty handy. It can be set up a couple of different ways. The way we want to set up for this one is we want it to be a stopping switch, which means it's going to stop on the switch, and when the switch changes state, that's when it actually goes on to the next state. So instead of having a delay, it's going to be an infinite delay until a switch is pressed. So we can hook that up, and we'll hook up the bottom one. Now we need to change the false and true around, because true means that it has changed states and false means it hasn't changed. So we'll put false on the left and we'll put true on the bottom, and we're using RB3, so that's right, and we'll look for a press, switch press. Will we? No, switch release actually works better. Normally when you click on a switch, it's when you release it that it activates. So we'll use that, switch release, and we might just give it an annotation and we'll say RB3, because that's the switch we're using, or the pin of the microcontroller. Okay, now the last thing we have to do from this false, we can loop it back around to itself like that. And actually you don't have to loop it back around to itself. You can come click and drag out and then drag back in, and you can put it on itself like that. And so that's just going to continually do the switch tool until it changes state. So let's program, and we'll notice something about this. Okay, so pressing the switch now isn't going to work. And the reason for that is, first of all, we need to unplug the programming cable, and now we should be able to press it. There we go. And so each time I press it, it changes between those states. And it's not when I press down, it's when I release that it actually changes state. And on the release has an extra benefit, is that if you change states when it releases, it's more likely to work better. We could put it on the press, but sometimes you'll get a bit of a shake in the switch, and electrically it will contact a few times, and so it might skip through. So I'll show you the difference if we plug it back in and program. Okay, now we'll unplug it. Okay, so now we have it. So now it's changing as I click it instead of as I release it. And that's the difference between a switch tool. But sometimes if I wiggle around on that, actually it's working really well at the moment, but sometimes it will actually trigger twice instead of once. Okay, so that's how to put a switch in the subroutine, but if you want to make it look nicer, of course, we've still got this listed as a delay. And so we can change the background image of the subroutine, so that it looks like a switch. And obviously we'll change the annotation as well. We might just turn the annotation off on that one. Okay, so we can go through and do that for each of the backgrounds. And we might just put a label on here, create a note, Pico Bright, using a switch to change between states. Okay, that's what we're doing. And there's a couple things I might show you in using the notes. We can actually change the format of the text as well to make it look a bit nicer. We can make it a different size, we can make it in bold, and we can change highlight colors. Go to advanced, we can let's choose a color in here somewhere. There's a color in there. We've got this alpha, which is like a transparency thing as well. And if we go back there it is, updated. We'll change the size. There it is. And we've got our nice title block at the top. Okay, till next time. Bye.